for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just know passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug, those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Thank you guys for being here. It's Tuesday. It is Big Ten Mac Tuesday. Love to hear from you guys. Love to see you guys. Thank you for being here in the chat. Shout out to all the newest MVPs, all the newest members and supporters of the channel. You know, people laugh at us, and they laugh at me. I was told, hey, Rico, you're washed up. You're nothing. You got people trying to sell this, you snake oilman, whatever people say. The reality is we have people genuinely supporting the channel. We have over 1,000 members. We have over 1,100. And it's growing every day, and we've only been at this for about 2 weeks now. So I'm grateful to each and every one of you who show up every day, all the names in the green. You make my life possible. Thank you so much. And it's a movement, and people either get on board or they'll fall behind. Not too worried about it. Life is good. Couldn't ask for more. I want to tell you guys, just had dinner. Kim made an amazing dinner. We stumbled onto this carniceria. We go to this little meat market nearby, and I always order 2 different types of meat. And I was going to walk out with just those 2 different meats that I order. And as I was getting ready to leave, Kim pointed at one in the window and said, "What's that?" And I said, "You know, that really looks like carne asada. It's just a different name, but it looks like it." And sure enough, it was amazing. Kim just made the most amazing dinner I've had. I'm so grateful. I'm sitting here fat, happy, and no longer hungry. I'm full, filled with love. Can't wait to finish the show and sit down and relax for the evening. Been working hard all day. putting in a lot of research and a lot of effort, and I'm glad I can share it with you guys. So let's talk. So first things first, we're talking about the Big Ten. One of the big news here, the big news is Indiana fires offensive coordinator Walt Bell. Walt Bell has been fired. Okay, let me explain something to you guys. Rod Carey is the new head coach. The new offensive coordinator. Rod Carey used to be a head coach for Northern Illinois. Rod Carey's not a bad guy. He knows what he's doing. Indiana has a new quarterback, right? Taven Jackson just transferred in from Tennessee. This is one of their local heroes in Indiana. They have good offensive players. They just haven't been able to put it together. So now you have a guy who is Indiana. Rod Carey's a former Indiana football player, used to be on the offensive line, but he really knows the game of football. I'm curious what's going to happen with their new quarterback, Taven Jackson, having to learn a new offense, maybe a different philosophy and play calling. But more importantly, Tom Allen, man, how long of a leash does this guy get? We're firing offensive coordinators, but not the head coach, right? That means they believe in what he's doing and what he's selling to this program. I have not seen the product on the field. I have not seen it warrant this type of support, but here he is. So we're down an offensive coordinator 4 weeks into the season. Usually you bench a quarterback, you bench a player, but they realize, hey, the players out there are the best we've got. They have not been able to score any points. They failed to score 17 points, all right, against Louisville. It was 14 against Louisville and 17 against Maryland. So no Maryland. So nothing worth talking about. Let me tell you something, man. You put up 17 on Maryland, that's pretty damn good. They're undefeated for a reason. Whole nother story there. It's the only real big news in the Big Ten that I'm talking about. People will tell you Marvin Harrison Jr. is coming back from injury. He's going to play and all this. I never thought he wasn't going to play, so I don't care. Now, I'm going to talk about the MAC first. There's some matchups here. Western Michigan at Mississippi State doesn't look favorable for the MAC at all. Western Michigan does not match up well with Mississippi State. It's on the road. This is an obvious SEC victory penciled in. Congratulations. They got it. They'd rather play Western Michigan than play Auburn. Or somebody from the East. Give me Missouri. They'd rather play Missouri, or they'd rather play Western Michigan instead of Missouri. Right? We all know the SEC only plays 8 conference games. They don't want to play that 9th one. That 9th one could go wrong. You saw Auburn almost beat Georgia. That 9th conference game can go wrong. So you get to schedule the MAC. Toledo, Massachusetts, UMass. That's an MVP level lock. I won't be discussing it here in public. Central Michigan at Buffalo. I can talk about this one. I want to tell you guys, Buffalo just got their first win of the season. I told you Cole Snyder was playing well. I liked what Buffalo was doing, and I thought they were going to win their first game, and they won it. Even though they were underdogs, they won the game. I called that. Now, Central Michigan let us down. They didn't beat Eastern Michigan like we anticipated. Central Michigan is a well-coached team. Shout out to Jim McElwain. But Central Michigan lacks kind of star power. I know Central Michigan's winning this game. I feel it. And to what extent, I don't know. What's the spread on this? Let's look up Buffalo real quick. So the spread's 3.5. Buffalo's the underdog. I feel like Central Michigan can beat that. I really do. I think Central Michigan can beat them by more than 3.5. Another thing I saw up here, 20.5 for Mississippi State against Western Michigan. They better cover that spread. If Mississippi State wants to be taken serious as an SEC school, they better cover this spread easily. There's no way. There's no way they're not 3 touchdowns better than Western Michigan. That's a disgrace if they aren't. I'm letting you know now. We'll see. We'll talk about it next week, but I don't even understand that. Ball State at Eastern Michigan. I believe this game will be a low-scoring game. Or maybe it'll be high-scoring. There you go. Those are the two. They both have really good running games. Ball State has been unable to get Marquez Cooper open for rushes. He's the 1,200-yard rusher back-to-back seasons at Kent State. For whatever reason, he's been at Ball State and has done nothing. And it's Ball State's offensive line that struggles and doesn't match up well. It's not the same offensive scheme as Kent State. You look at their stats this year, and you're just disappointed. Marquez Cooper not getting what he's used to. We're talking about 316 yards in 5 games. That's gross, man. The 4 yards of carry average, bad. 1 touchdown. Everything about them is bad. And it has to do with the fact they're starting Caden Simonza, a true freshman quarterback. Lane Hatcher's probably better. Lane Hatcher started at Texas State last year. He's probably better. He's a transfer coming in. But Caden Samanza is a true freshman out of Mission Viejo High School, and they like his, he's kind of spontaneous. He's kind of, what is he, a gunslinger? But he's thrown 5 interceptions, guys. He's a little reckless. Obviously, Lane Hatcher's done this before. 0 interceptions, but we know his ceiling. Lane Hatcher's ceiling is next to nothing. Just keeping it real. So it's just one of these struggling offenses out here for Ball State. And Eastern Michigan's the same way. Very anemic. If you look at Eastern Michigan as a team, this just looks like the ultimate 50-50 or 54-45, whatever they want to call it. But Eastern Michigan should win this game. They should. We'll see. They should win the game. Don't know if they're covering a spread of any sort. You just know that that's a coin flip. I would stay away from it completely. Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio, that's MVP data. I might take it off the MVP chart. It just seems a little perplexing to me. But you guys want to see something crazy? I've been talking about Bowling Green and saying how terrible they are. You know what's crazy? Look what they did with Liberty. 24 points of Liberty. It turns out that's a really good performance. They just didn't get it done. But 24 points against Liberty, now that we know Liberty's undefeated, on the road, 24, not bad. Dominating East Illinois, right? You see how they were terrible against Michigan, terrible against Ohio, and then they go out and put 38 on Georgia Tech. They're so hard to read. They're so difficult to read. And the crazy thing is that was 38 unanswered points. They were down 27-0. 27-0. That's nuts. Insane. I'm still dumbfounded by it. So maybe Bowling Green can put up some points against Miami of Ohio. That's an MVP conversation. I won't go into detail about it. Just wanted to show you Bowling Green's not as hapless as I initially thought. Kent State is. Kent State is as hapless as I initially thought. I feel like Ohio is going to dominate this game, but they gave them a huge spread. I want to say the spread is unrealistic, if I remember correctly, because I just had to stay away from it. 25.5. Ohio doesn't have quite that offense, and if Kent State can score twice, they won't cover. But 45.5 here, that tells me they expect some insane score. Like they just expect Kent State to do nothing. Let's say you put them at 14. To cover that spread, you'd need something else. Yeah, it doesn't even work. 35-7. 35-10. That's where we're at. 35-10. Somewhere around there. That's nuts. I don't see Ohio doing stuff like that. But, hey, Kent State's been really bad. And then Northern Illinois, Akron. Akron's hot and cold. This is a terrible game. I'm going to hate watching it. I am. Akron's just struggles. DJ Irons, their leading rusher. That's their JUCO quarterback. Northern Illinois, hard to tell what they're about, man. They had a great game against Toledo last week. Great game against Toledo. They actually looked the part, but I've seen them lay eggs and be terrible. They beat Boston College to start the season, have a great game against Toledo, but they still, some games they're good, some games they're absolutely terrible. They should beat Akron on the road, though. You look over here, get to the Big Ten. Nebraska at Illinois. Unfortunately, this is MVP data. So this is MVP data, and only because it's a Friday night game, and I give all MVPs in-depth information on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night games. We have football Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, guys. We got football starting tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. We got games every night. I'll be live streaming. You guys can come join me and watch them. Then we got Maryland at Ohio State. MVP data. We'll not be discussing it. Rutgers at Wisconsin. I think Rutgers is going to surprise a lot of people. They're tough. They're going to be in this game. Wisconsin, though, obviously has all the offensive weapons. But, man, does Rutgers sound like legitimately going to cover the spread because they're coached well. Where are they? They don't even have a spread listed? This is crazy. Yeah. FanDuel doesn't even have them. That's nuts. I have to wait for that one to come out. I don't know what the spread is. Let me open this up and see. Vegas, they have a Caesar app. 14. 14 for Wisconsin. 44.5. Man, give me that over and give me Rutgers to cover the spread. Over and Rutgers covers the spread. Let's go. Pick one or the other or pick both. I don't care. I like Rutgers. I think they play tough. I'm impressed with Rutgers, especially the way they played Michigan. It's hard to score on them. They're a good team. You look over here, Rutgers doesn't give up much. They really don't. I've seen how bad Temple is. They couldn't score. Northwestern's much improved, by the way. Northwestern, guys. Their head coach, their coach, their Brom, the defensive coordinator who became the head coach, he knows what he's doing. It's taken him a couple weeks, but he's making them competitive in their losses. Northwestern looks like they turn over a new leaf halfway through the season. Just watch. They're going to be a tough out every time. They don't have the players to win games, but my goodness, are they getting annoying. They can cover spreads. It can be difficult. Northwestern and Howard, I don't know what that spread is, but it'll be huge. Purdue at Iowa. A lot of people are making a big deal out of Cade McNamara not being there. I think they're the same team without Cade McNamara. They're going to have Deacon Hill at quarterback or Legis or whatever his name is. It doesn't matter. Iowa has a very dominant defense. Purdue can move the ball. They just can't stop anything. I think Iowa can actually run the ball on Purdue. Purdue's got terrible defensive line. So I'd stay away from this game. You got to learn more about a team, especially when a team gets a new quarterback like that. I just think Iowa has a very good team. They obviously have good punt returners. Yeah, Iowa's still favorite by 1.5 points. It makes sense to go money line with Purdue here if you're looking for value or whatever. Also, that 39.5 just looks daunting. It looks daunting. I don't understand if you envision Purdue getting 3 touchdowns. Good news, but that looks like they'll never get there. That's what it looks like. Purdue will never get there unless Hudson Card comes out and starts willing and dealing. If you believe Hudson Card can do that, it just I don't like it. 39.5 is a lot, but I hate saying an under on this game, and then we have to sit there all night and hope nobody does anything the whole game, and that hasn't been working out for us. But it feels like an under is going to hit on that. So just something to think about. Food for thought. And then Michigan and Minnesota, that's MVP data. We'll not be discussing it. So there you go. All right. So that's that. Thank you guys for being here. I will get to the chat now. If you got any Big Ten or MAC questions, I'm ready to answer them to the best of my ability. As long as the chat's there, the show will keep going. Shout out to you guys there. Those of you who are watching us on TikTok, listen, I only read comments from YouTube. I do not see anything you're writing. I only read YouTube. So if you hit the link up here, join the YouTube, you can put a question in and I'll answer it. Promise. I get to all of them. Shout out to Troy Field. You just became an MVP. Congratulations. Brandon Bieber, you're an MVP. Congratulations. Foster Every, welcome to the MVP package. Good day, sir. What up, Boss Omar? Christopher Sanchez, MVP. Steve Talbot says, howdy, folks. Big Ten Mactions questions today. Welcome to all new MVP members. Shout out to them. RicoKnows.org. Get your shirt, man. Get yourself a shirt, a hoodie, a mug, something. RicoKnows.org. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Want to see a dead body? Everything's there. Joey Davis, you are now a minion. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate every minion, every roughneck. You guys are all the same to me. You guys are supporting our dream. Once all the MVPs fade away in the offseason, all that's left are those minions and roughnecks. And I got to tell you, man, they're going to keep us sustained and, ensuring that we never end this show. Thoughts on Wisconsin-Rutgers game? Is Wisconsin minus 14? Yeah, Dom, just talked about it. I like Rutgers to be competitive in this game. I'm not saying they're winning, but they're definitely capable of covering that spread. They are. Wisconsin is going to struggle with just the athleticism of Rutgers. Rutgers has a well-coached team. Shout out to Greg Schiano. Does Iowa's offense change with Cade out? Yeah, not so many balls will be thrown to Eric All. I think Purdue can potentially win this game. There you go, Dom. If you think that's the case, go for it. Go for it. I don't feel that way, but it's possible. They're playing each other. It's possible. But I don't go that far. LFG, Rico, what up, man? Let's F and go. What up, Daniel Hernandez? Good to see you, brother. Andres says, how's it going, Rico? It's going pretty good. What's wrong with Drew Allar this past Saturday against Northwestern? Well, Northwestern's defense is coached by a great coach, right, in Braun. And more importantly, Drew Allar has never been him. Anyone who's ever told you Drew Allar is great or he is him, they're lying to you. I've told you guys all offseason. Anytime a Penn State fan approached me and asked me, hey, what do you think of Penn State? I'd say the same thing. I'm not sold on Drew Allar. I watched him play in the Under Armour All-American game, and he looked terrible. And then I watched him last year for Penn State not beat out Sean Clifford. And if you're a 5-star and you're supposed to be everything, you beat out Sean Clifford. He didn't do that. So he never won the job, never threatened for it. I just don't think he's that good. I really don't. He looked dazed and confused for most of the game. Sounds about right. It's Northwestern, bro. Should have been dominating them by a ton. They did a backdoor cover. crazy. David Balassi says, good afternoon, Rico. Hit that like button. Thank you guys who's hit the like button before you join the show, before you join the live stream. All you got to do is hit that little thumbs up. That's it. If you're in the live stream right now, you can leave the chat, close the chat out, and then tap your screen. It'll say like. Hit like, and then come back to the chat. That's all we ask. Help us out. Help the algorithm. Thank you who just hit it. Somebody just hit it. Everybody hit the like button. We'll be on it. Thank you so much, guys. I can't believe Toledo sold me last week. Yeah, it's pretty perplexing, especially because we went the whole week thinking, okay, Tucker Gleason's going to be the starting quarterback for Toledo. And I was saying, hey, the backup quarterback's fine. But if DeQuan Finn can play, they'll be even more dominant. Well, DeQuan Finn actually played, and they weren't dominant. It was gross. Shout out to Toledo. Maybe it was a trap game or something. Maybe they were looking forward to UMass this week. Who knows? Rico, I saw your video on MJ Morris. Let me tell you this. If anyone has any doubts as far as your ability to analyze players, go watch that video. Shout out to Rico for always knowing. You know, Stephen Guyat, it's almost laughable to me that people will try to point out a player I missed on or a player that I incorrectly evaluated, whatever it is. It's because the amount of times that I am accurate is off the charts. Let's do this. If you assess NFL players, right? I know a pimple-faced kid who assesses NFL players. Not only do you not have to assess all NFL players or all NFL draft prospects, all you have to do is read a mock draft and then look at 4 or 5 guys who are first-round grades and then try to guess which one of them will be right. And go with the pundits or go with the audience and go with the mass. Like, just all you got to do. You look at 4 dudes who might be looked at in the first round. That's not hard. You know what's hard? Analyzing 133 quarterback rooms. 133 FBS level teams and trying to find the one kid that's not starting in America that should be starting. That's what's hard. So analyzing NFL draft prospects for me is child's play. That's why I don't like doing it. It's too easy. 259 players will be drafted. Guys, I look at 1,500 new recruits every year. I made a video last week on Wisconsin's running back room. And then I went and made a video on UNLV's running back room. I'm making a video on Alabama's wide receivers a day later. Like, it's too easy to look at NFL draft prospects and go, oh, I think I got this right. I think I know who I am. Try doing what I do. Good luck. Good luck making videos identifying players who aren't getting enough playing time across America. I wish you well. You won't be doing this for a living, not like me. Mag Day, shout out to you. Just became a minion. Just got a super chat. It says, hey, Rico, first off, big fan. What up, Mason? I'm a big fan of you and your support. Always in the TikTok. Word. Just wanted to ask, if the Bears got Caleb, which coach should they hire for his full potential? Well, thank you so much. If the Bears got Caleb Williams, which coach should they hire for his full potential? Yes. They should hire a new coach. I don't know who. They need to find someone who's a quarterback whisperer. They need to find somebody who can get the most out of a system or, you know, whatever it is. What the reality is the players win the games. Players got to be on the field and win the games. The Bears have been a terrible franchise for a while now. They need to clean house. If you allow the current coach and GM to draft Caleb Williams, they will be in power for the next 4 years while we assess Caleb Williams as a player. That's what happens. When you draft a rookie quarterback, you buy yourself 3 to 4 years. Unless you're the Cardinals and you draft, Josh Rosen. But you buy yourself 3 to 4 years. It's exactly what the Colts did. Colts were in desperation mode. They just missed, right? They just missed on Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. They kept getting all these veterans. They're about to fire everybody. So they said, all right, let's panic, get Anthony Richardson 4th overall, and now we just stay quiet and hope he pans out. And we got 4 years. We just kept our job for another 3-4 years while we try to figure out what this kid is. These guys ain't slick. It's just a desperation thing. They're not slick. So, yeah, I don't know who the Bears need to get. They need to get somebody new, though. Love seeing this content creator grow. Shout out to Daniel Henderson. Look at all those green names getting fat stacks and these black names getting none. Well, let's be fair. The people with the black names, they're not lesser human beings or anything. They just haven't committed themselves to this, and maybe it's something in their life, and I respect it. I don't need it. I want to make this very clear. I don't need it. Financially, we're doing fine over here, but I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who becomes a part of the channel. But Daniel, the people that don't have MVP access, yeah, they're definitely losing on their betting. That's their problem, not mine. And anybody who's got MVP and doesn't sit down and watch the videos, well, they just don't care about their money. They're probably really reckless. They probably buy DVDs and CDs. They probably buy, $15 worth of bad music every month. They probably waste their money on some other shit they don't even know about. They probably got a subscription to Planet Fitness and don't go. Right? That's what types of people we're dealing with. It's okay. Oh, shit. Here we go again. What up, anybody? Appreciate you. Kevin James Ragland says, thumbs up the video. Thank you so much. Chat just jumped. Everybody sit tight. I got to scroll back up. Here we go. 1 week till Maction. Shout out to you, Bobby Albright. 1 week till Maction. If you guys didn't know, Maction, they play on Tuesdays, the MAC schools. It's exciting. Does Maryland have a realistic shot to beat Ohio State? That is an MVP level question. I can't answer that out here in the public. I've discussed it with MVPs, and I will on Saturday morning in depth. If you want to become an MVP, get that question answered. You know what to do. Hit join on the channel. Go watch the video on the homepage. Become an MVP. You'll know the answer to that question. More importantly, on Saturday morning, when I do my live stream with just the MVPs, we dig deep on every single game, and we try to figure out our answers for every game. What do you need to see from Wisconsin to get them in your top 25? Not lose to Washington State. That's what I need to see from Wisconsin. Not lose to Washington State. Hit on all cylinders. Utilize Braylon Allen more than you have been. Tanner Mordecai needs to not throw any interceptions. Find Will Paulding open in the end zone. There's so many things Wisconsin needs to do and hit on all cylinders. This week, who are they playing this week? They're playing Rutgers. Yeah, they need to win by 30 if I want them to be a top 25 team. They got to show out, man. Have not been showing out. They've been kind of like stalling in third gear. Make sure you all like. Thank you so much, Pineda. I believe in you. Shout out to Rico for MVP. Absolute game changer. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you to all the MVPs. Everybody else doesn't know what's going on. Dev So Cool says, how do you feel about Jordan making Forbes 500 richest men? Dev So Cool, I'm not too concerned with it. I'll tell you that there was a time in the 2000s, in the last 10 years, there are guys who are on Forbes 500, and they tell me they're the richest men in the world. I remember there was one specifically, this billionaire from Russia. And the very next year, he was bankrupt. The very next year, he wasn't on the list. And that's because their total valuation and estimated net worth is just all derived off of what? Speculation? It's not liquid. It's not what they actually have. It's not what they own. It's just nonsense. That whole magazine, that whole conversation, just nonsense. All right? Michael Jordan, I'm not impressed with the way that man manages his money, his life, or anything. And you guys can say what you want, but I've never seen somebody mismanage more resources. I really haven't. I've been thinking about it. I don't know of anybody else. Do you know what the plans are for the Big Ten divisions with the additions of the 4 Pac-12 teams? They could use a reformat. The West is so weak. So I thought they were getting rid of divisions, Bobby Albright. There was a joke going around. They're going to make the West and the East. The West will be all the Pac-10 teams, and they'll play the East teams in the Rose Bowl. It'd just be the repeat of what it used to be. But no, I think they're getting rid of divisions. So there you go. Evening, champs. What up, Brian? You? Evening. Hey, Rico, which Big Ten team has the best linebacker core? I root for Ohio State for Still Chambers representing Georgia football. So best linebacker core in the Big Ten, man. You guys aren't going to like my answer, but I really like Michigan State. I really like their linebackers. But obviously Michigan has the best linebacker core with Barrett and Hausman. I really like Michigan and Michigan State's linebackers, both of them. Both teams, they have good linebackers. They really do. Watch the tape. Shout out to Ohio State, though. Maryland is undefeated, but because they don't play really teams that stand out. It's not that, Dom. It's the fact that Maryland started the preseason unranked. People ignore them because there's teams that are ranked right now undefeated that haven't played real teams. Maryland's played good teams. Maryland's played better teams than Kentucky. Are you kidding me? Maryland's actually played 3 FBS level teams right here. 4, right? But 3 Power 5 teams in a row. Manhandled them. Put up over 40, over 30 for sure. But they don't care what Maryland does against all these teams. They're just going to be seen as second fiddle. And they probably are. But the reality is if you're Kentucky, have you guys ever looked at Kentucky's schedule? Let's do this. Kentucky football. I always go stats, but you can just click on schedule once you're there. Check out their schedule. They beat Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, Vandy, and Florida. And somehow they're in the top 25. Look at those 4 teams they played to start the season. I have not seen a worse slate of teams. A worse slate of teams? No way. But because they supposedly beat a ranked team, Florida's not ranked. Florida should never be ranked, but they were ranked this one week. And this is the shit we got to deal with. There's no way Kentucky's slate is better than Maryland's. None. No way. The teams they beat, these group of 5 teams, these guys are not as good as the Maryland teams. They just aren't. Well, but Florida, Rico, that Florida win's impressive. Yeah. How bad is Florida, bro? Florida's out there with a Wisconsin quarterback and a running back from Louisiana and a wide receiver from Arizona State. Like, you guys got to pay attention to the origin of these players. They're not special. They put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. I'm not impressed. So, no, the only reason Maryland is not in the top 25 is because they weren't considered for the top 25 in the preseason. That's it. It's not resume. It's not Kentucky's resume sucks. Peace, Unc. What up, man? What up, Top? What up? Shout out to you, Cover to Harmony. Paul Keenan says, would love to see Rutgers go out to Wisconsin and take it to them. Shiano has to get these boys fired up, hoping to see Dremel and Monongae have good games. Shout out to Don Bosco Prep. Yep. Don Bosco, these boys are repping. That's their high school, by the way. I love everything about Rutgers. I watched their spring game, and the only thing I'm concerned with is their quarterback play. Right? It's the only thing. Gavin Wimsatt, he's just not accurate. Not accurate, but they got studs everywhere. Good team. Like Rutgers. Doing the best they can with what they have. Kirk Ciarrocca is doing well on the offensive coordinator position side, but, man, you got to bridge that gap. What's your biggest disappointment so far in the Big Ten? Ivan, it's going to sound weird, but my biggest disappointment is Wisconsin. I expected Wisconsin to go 11-1 and really challenge Michigan and Ohio State. I felt like their transfer portal class was that good. But there's a huge disconnect with commitment to the program from the players. I can see it on the field. I don't think they're all bought into Luke Fickell and what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball. And I think a lot of those players want to play for Jim Leonhard. I think they don't want to be there. So, and there's nothing they can do about it. But that's my biggest disappointment. Wisconsin's winning, but they're not winning the way I anticipated. I wanted them to dominate and look like world beaters. See what happens. Mason just sent a super chat. What up, Mason? I appreciate you, man. He says, I also do scouting reports more for NFL prospects. Predicted Ivan Pace out of Cincy to be a stud, etc. I watched tape from my school, number 1 in my state. Yeah. Ivan Pace Jr. was on my list. He was on my top draft picks list. He was easily one of my hidden gems in the draft. I have it up. Here it is. Look, I'll show you the chart right here. These were my top 10s in the draft. And Ivan Pace Jr. was right behind Diane Henley of people I cared about. Shout out to Isaiah Land. He also made it in the NFL. He's on a practice squad right now. So is Thomas Incoom on a practice squad. Like, the people that – so is Caleb Murphy, right? I got it right all over the place. This is too easy to get this right. But I'm telling you, I believed in Ivan Pace Jr. Even put him on my original top 10 linebackers. I had Ivan Pace Jr. on the top 10. Didn't give a shit about any of these other draft prospects, all this. I said, no, he should be up there. And then when they go through the draft, they're like, Rico, Ivan Pace Jr., not drafted. Ha, ha, ha. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, okay. He's not drafted. Neither Starling Thomas. These guys are on rosters today. Right? You can look over here, running backs, not drafted. Oh, Rico, Keaton Mitchell, not drafted. Okay, well, he's on a team right now. He's on IR, but he made a team. Aiden O'Connell just started a game. There's levels to this shit, man. People don't understand what I'm doing out here. I'm finding hidden gems like it's nothing. Assessing talent's easy for me. It's what I do. I do it at the collegiate level so I can see a guy who's going to make it in the NFL. It's too easy. Thank you, though. Shout out to all those kids at Rutgers, though. Don't look now, but your boy, Willie Bobo. What up, Willie Bobo? Nice to see you, man. Don't forget to order your merchandise at ricoknows.org. You heard. Thank you very much, Willie Bobo. Which quarterback is better at Bowling Green? Seems like the players like the backup more. So when you look at Bowling Green's quarterback situation, Cade Bazelak? Bazelak is the kid who came in, okay? And everybody's like, well, is he going to be our starting quarterback the whole year or whatever? Connor Bazelak, the Indiana transfer. Connor Bazelak. But there is a backup there from the FCS, Camden North. And the team loves him. They love him. They will not get off it. Now, I don't know if that's just because they hate Cade or what, but, man, Camden North's the real deal. He really is. Came in and played. He played well. And he's, like, sparking their offense, so we'll see what happens. That's how it's looking. Sorry, my computer's acting up over here. Just saw a super chat come through. I like Camden North. Think it gives them a chance to win. I think my work's pretty good. Shout out to you, Mason. Ed Reed complimented my stuff. I think we're pretty similar, though, because we both see talent easily. We should compare work. Mason, I have no desire to compare work with you. Thank you for the super chat. None whatsoever. There's people out there who want to compare all kinds of shit with other people. I don't do that, man. I don't give a crap what you're doing. I'll never watch your work. It's just who I am. I'm a content creator, and I keep it moving. Don't care to compare my shit to anybody. Just so we're aware. Thank you for the super chat. Being a better one. How do you feel about conference realignment? Would love to hear your thoughts on the topic in general. Maddie, I've talked about this so many times. I feel the same way. It's a necessary evil. TV contracts made it part of the deal. Don't really care. Conference realignment's been happening my whole life. Right? I can remember in the early 90s when Arkansas left the Southwest Conference and went to the SEC. And that pretty much buried the Southwest Conference. And then they had to go join the Big 8, and then they're the Big 8, and then there you go. Now it's the Big 12. And I remember when the WAC was created, and the WAC had to come apart and go be the Mountain West. Realignment's been happening our whole lives. You just got to pay attention. It's part of it. Do you know Miles Burkett, Wisconsin third-string quarterback? And if so, how do you feel about him as a potential starter? So I found out about him this past offseason, but I didn't know he was third string. He passed Nick Evers. Okay, so if he passed Nick Evers, then congratulations. I don't feel that he should be starting games. There's a lot of other quarterbacks on that team. Is everybody injured? Am I unaware of this? That's news to me. Now, you got a new offensive coordinator in Phil Longo coming over from North Carolina. The chances are everybody has a clean slate. Nobody has any continuity with that offensive scheme, so everybody's on the same page. We're learning it for the first time. So the potential for a freshman to start over all the others, it's real because nobody else knows the system. Usually you have an upperclassman who knows the system, and that's why he has an advantage on the underclassmen. But if everybody shows up on the same slate, we're all learning a new offense together, man. And it shows. It looks like everybody's learning that offense for the first time. Boxing Boys, Theo Ash is 50-pound kid with white guilt. I don't think anyone cares what he has to say. Get on and do something productive. Yeah, Bobby Albright, I don't know what's going on. I just saw that apparently this kid, Boxing Boys, made a message. I can just tell you that I don't worry about those kids. They don't know shit about football. Yo, Rico, do you have a twin brother that does finance? Owen Teams, I do. His name is Morantz Rants. Go support his channel. Go watch it. It is what it is. Congratulations to Etienne A1. You just became an MVP. Congratulations, man. Welcome to the team. Hope you enjoyed the MVP data. Bobby this. Yeah, there you go. Best backup quarterback in the Big Ten. Maddie. Best backup quarterback in the Big Ten. Let me think about that for a second. it's got to be Devin Brown, right? It's got to be Devin Brown, just from a talent standpoint. Yeah, it's got to be Devin Brown. I can't think of anybody else that's Devin Brown. He was almost good enough to start, so Devin Brown. I asked last week, and you said you'd make a video, but I must have missed it. Who do you expect to step up behind Braylon in the Wisconsin running back room? Oh, I made the video. I already made the video. We're not doing this. Bobby, I made the video. Let me go find it. I made the video last week. Come on now. Let me do you one better. There's only one option. And it's because, for whatever reason, Luke Fickell and Phil Longo have not used any other running backs this season. 0. And I talked about it because it's Jackson Aker. Now, Jackson Aker was one of the best 100-meter sprinters in track. He was also the state champ in the shot put in the discus. Big kid. Big Wisconsin running back. Could move. Okay? But he was a fullback last year. But they didn't use anybody else. Look at that. They only have 4 guys who run the ball this whole season. That's insane. Most teams have a ton of other guys. Not Wisconsin. And Jackson Aker was 5th string last year as a running back. 5th string. Okay? Their leading rusher was Braylon Allen. Ches was the second leading rusher. Both these guys last season. No problem there. Their 3rd string running back was Isaac Orindo. He transferred to Louisville, and right now he's splitting time at Louisville. Right? He's contributing there. And then their 4th string running back was Julius Davis, and he transferred to Montana State, the Bobcats FCS level. So the 5th string running back is now magically in the rotation, and he's second. Like, he's getting carries for real. And this is just a prime example of the transfer portal not allowing you to stockpile entire running back rooms the way you envision. Other teams are going to get that talent. It's going to spread out all over college football at every echelon. You're not going to get to keep all those quality running backs. But shout out to Jackson Aker for being patient, waiting his turn. I think he's a redshirt sophomore, but he doesn't have much playing time. Big kid. I watched his tape. I'm not too impressed with him. Personally, not that impressed with him. It's just another Wisconsin running back kind of looks the part. We'll see what happens. I wasn't that impressed with him, though. Made the video, though. I hope you go find it, Bobby. All you got to do is search #Wisconsin, #Rico Knows, and it'll come right up. Garrett Fortune says, yo, I know you don't care, but I was in a Theo Little Boy Ash's content comment section getting after people for the lives. Yeah, it's okay, Garrett Fortune. I don't worry about it. Let me tell you what I know. I know that I was at 30,000 followers when I first found Theo Ash, and he tried to crush my whole program. He tried to crush my whole channel. And he had 220,000. And today he's got 240. He's gone up 14,000. Okay? And I have 150. I'm going to catch him. The dude's been at it for 3-4 years on TikTok. I'm going to catch everybody. He's not my goal. He's just a kid in the distance, bro. I'm better than everybody. There's no stopping me. I'll catch everyone. Yeah, it's jealous. You know what it is? He made a comment in his video. They tagged me in it 100 times. Said that now he's doing this. I wouldn't want to be this guy. I wouldn't want to be. Yeah, I made $30,000 last month, buddy. I made $30,000 doing this. Do the math. Figure your life out. I made $30,000. You wouldn't want to be me? Bum-ass kids. Not going to lie, I'd love to smoke a blunt with Rico. Okay, Andy Mueller, you wouldn't like it because I don't like drugs. I hate the smell of marijuana, and I'd probably tell you to leave. Brian Andy, I might pay to see him higher than a kite. Not a chance in hell. I've never done a drug in my life. New tier option. No, thank you. Shador to the Cowboys in the future. IMO, he has a better release than Dak does right now. Oh, yeah. I think Shador is better than a lot of NFL quarterbacks. His release, his accuracy, he needs to learn how to manage the game, process a little faster, not take so many sacks. But, man, his throwing mechanics are pretty damn good. No, thank you. Ohio State, really, 3 touchdowns better than Maryland. The spread is -20. Huh. MVP data. Do you see C.J. Williams' role increasing over the course of the season? Was expecting him to be a way bigger part of the offense, but looked like they're trying to get him involved versus Purdue. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of C.J. Williams as a wide receiver. This is a Wisconsin wide receiver. If you guys don't know, former 4-star USC transfer, used to play at Mater Dei. I like CJ Williams a lot as a young man. He's a follower of the channel. He's actually sent me DMs on TikTok. We've talked privately, and he just appreciated me having belief in him. And, he said he had a lull in his career while he started lacking confidence in his ability, and he came across one of my videos where I was talking about him. And remember, I think way too highly of this young man. I actually, if I can show you guys, he's barely getting any playing time, right? He's getting few targets and everything. When it comes to top 50 transfer portal players, CJ Williams, for me, is on my list. He's right here at 23. 23 on the list. Right behind Dominic Lovett, an 800-yard receiver, right, in the SEC. Alton McCaskill, a 900-yard rusher. DeAndre McCray just ran back a kickoff for a touchdown last week for 100 yards. I think very highly of C.J. Williams. The problem is the players, right? C.J. Williams as a player, he's coming over from USC, not Cincinnati. So he's not in the fold like Will Pauling or some of these other guys. And it's just going to be tough. He's just got to keep getting more playing time, learn the offensive scheme, get in the rotation, get some familiarity with his quarterback. But I'm a big fan of him, right? BG ran all over GT, Bowling Green, with Terrion. And he made those linebackers look thin. Chat just jumped on me while I was reading that. I apologize. Bear with me. Are the Georgia Tech linebackers as weak as they looked in the game, or is Terrion just that strong? It's a little bit of both, Real Sports History. It's a little bit of both. The Georgia Tech linebackers were very underwhelming in that game. They actually haven't been great in any game, though. They need to upgrade at linebacker. There are linebackers in the state of Georgia they need to recruit, figure out, or get some guys from the transfer portal. They can do this. They just need better linebacker play. They do not look like they have a strong front seven. They have good quarterback play. Shout out to Haynes King. But that's a whole that's really a ACC question, not a Big Ten question, so wrong day. But I appreciate you. Another thing, do you think if Caleb doesn't declare as the first pick, should they take a chance on Drake May or Michael Penix Jr.? Not really a Big Ten question by any means, and Big Ten is the day today. Big Ten and MAC, so thank you for the question, Mason. Anthony S. People with black names probably don't gamble. That's a very good assessment there, Anthony. I think Anthony Richardson is pretty good quarterback, and he'll be good in the league, especially if they can figure stuff out with Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know where you guys do your assessment of how players are good or who's good and who's not. I can just tell you that if you go look at NFL top passers, Anthony Richardson is nowhere on the first page. He's nowhere near the top. He's somewhere in the 30s. There's only 32 starting quarterbacks. He's somewhere in the 30s. Not a good quarterback. It's the reality of the situation. His completion percentage is below 60%. I told you guys it would be low 50s at best. It's 56. And everybody's saying he's playing amazing. Well, 56? It's trash. Rico Knows and the YMCA, my only subscription. Hey, shout out to you, Bobby Albright. Get your workout in, man. I know you're not a big NFL guy. I'm as big as anybody else. I know it. I just don't like to talk it because I don't like the fans from the NFL. AR has looked really good so far. We will see how the rest of the year goes. Yeah, I don't see. Really good. I don't know what you're talking about. Really good. He just completed 44% of his passes in his last game. What's really good? What's really good? I don't know. You guys need to reserve really good for some other shit. Respectfully, some folks don't have interest in the betting angle. Some just enjoy the analysis of college football. Appreciative of everyone who takes time out of their day to join us. There it is, Steve. Steve gets it. It doesn't have to be gamblers. I actually prefer people who just support the channel. Just rock with me and believe in my thought process. That's the way it goes. Vegas Content Gap channel says, Nebraska line down to +3. Why the movement, in your opinion, Rico? Give me a second here. Sorry. So I'm not going to talk about the game as a whole, but lines move based on money being placed on teams. So if the line keeps dropping, that means a lot of money was placed on the favorite, and Vegas needs to adjust the line. I wish people didn't think it was a conspiracy theory or there's something else out there. The reality is if I make a video and we have 1,000 MVPs voting one way or the other, they're going to impact the line. 1,000 people betting $100 is $100,000 on that game. That will move the line. No one else is betting on that game at this point of the week, so the line moves when we make a video. We move the lines in Vegas. Reality of the situation, especially on a a Group of 5 game. So I'd imagine not a lot of people care about the Nebraska-Illinois game, and we can move that line. That's the reality. So that's how I feel it. Where do you rank Mordecai among Big Ten quarterbacks? Sorry for all the Wisconsin questions. It's fine, Bobby Albright. This is the day for you to ask Big Ten questions, and if you sit here and ask me Wisconsin questions, let's go. But among the Big Ten quarterbacks, let me do this. Instead of trying to name them all off the top of my head, I'll go to stats. Go up NCAA, you go to stats, and then you can sort it by conference. We'll go to Big Ten. There we go. Big Ten passing leaders. And I'm just going to look them over. And where do I see Tanner Mordecai among all these passing leaders? Well, for me, the number one quarterback in the conference. Man, this conference has some bad quarterback play, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's probably 6th or 7th. He's probably 6th or 7th. That's where I have him. If I'm giving a true assessment here, I think he's better than Noah Kim. I think he's better than Luke Altmaier. Ben Bryant. Better than all the guys beneath him. So 6th or 7th. Not a bad spot to be in. Rico, did you see that Pat McAfee show with Aaron Rodgers calling Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer? I didn't see it. I stopped watching Pat McAfee the minute he went to ESPN. Congratulations. I don't watch him anymore. No problem. I felt like he was making more than enough money with FanDuel. He just signed a $120 million deal for 4 years. That's more than enough to pay all your boys and whatever money you're making. I'm not here to pocket watch him, but I just selling out to ESPN for more than that, it sounds absurd to me. You're making Jim Rome money, bro. Sit tight. Jim Rome's been making $30 million a year off CBS for my whole life. Like, just relax. Enjoy it. Instead, he pushed for more. It's an egomaniac thing. I don't watch it anymore. I don't support that shit. Thoughts on the Tide at Texas A&M? That's not a Big Ten game or a MAC game, so you're asking the wrong question. Rico, why do so many people call rookie quarterbacks in the NFL a hit when the season just started? Yeah, sports and gaming, it makes no sense to me. The reality is 3 or 4 quarterbacks are going to start because of where they're drafted. It has nothing to do with their ability. It has nothing to do with their talent. It's just their draft position warrants them to become the starter. There's more money in invested in them, so they get to start. They're not any good. Doesn't matter how they play. They're not better than the people behind them. Look, man, I can go up here right now. I go to NFL stats. I'm going to go to passing leaders for the regular season. And we can sort it by yards, and you're going to see your boy way down here because he missed a couple games. But look, he's right next to Gardner Minshew at 32. And when you're right next to Gardner Minshew, I go straight to completion percentage. One guy's at 56, one guy's at 66. It's glaring, bro. That's 10% of your passes hitting the floor. But what you want to get excited about are his rushing yards. But as far as passing goes, this guy is not, he's just not anything to write home about. One person's playing out of his mind, C.J. Stroud. Now this is what you're looking for from a quarterback. This is good stuff. 8 yards an attempt, 300 yards a game. You come back down here, 150 yards. Like this is anemic. This is anemic. This is gross. And people are gassing this up and talking. He's below everybody, bro. He's below Zach Wilson and terrible Joe Burrow. He's below Desmond Ridder. Like he's below these people. I don't know what we're doing. I don't even know why we're talking about it. Everybody gets excited about some shit. I go in here and I just start looking around. Look at this completion percentage. There's only 2 quarterbacks worse. Completion percentage, there's only 2 worse. And it's 2 guys I didn't believe in the draft process. 2 guys I've never talked highly of in the draft process. He's below Zach Wilson. Yeah, man. I don't know what to tell you guys. You keep gassing that shit up like it's good. Nothing good about it. Nothing. Do you still think Josh Allen is bad? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Bills aren't going to win anything with Josh Allen? He must have seen Rico's video. Yeah. Where do I become an MVP? Landon Mizell. Go watch the pinned video on TikTok or on YouTube. Y'all need to stop talking. He doesn't care. I don't care. Jacoby Windmon is out for the year at Mississippi State or at Michigan State. Okay. That sucks. Big trust, it doesn't matter. Florida quarterback does look mid. That's not a Big Ten question. Hit that like button. Thank you so much, guys. Excuse me. I live in Wisconsin. Rutgers is going to beat them. Shout out to you. It's a nice thought, man. It's a nice thought. I find it encouraging. I wouldn't put my money where my mouth is on that, but if you have some extra, and you want to get fancy, do you, man. Do you. Do I think Iowa beats Purdue with over 200? That doesn't sound plausible to me. Purdue's weakest thing is their defensive line. You can just run on them. I think Iowa just goes out there and hands the ball off a lot. Who you got in the Mizzou-LSU game, Rico? I think I got LSU. I like Missouri. I want them to do well. But I think LSU is going to win that game. I really do. They have some players. If y'all have a Madden IG, I don't know what that is. Y'all should pay Rico to make your rookie drafts. Oh, a Madden league? I don't know nothing about that. I don't mess with none of that. I ain't got time for that either. People are laughing. Mason, LOL. Should happen. Shout out to Mason. Attention. Who is a freshman, offense and defense, that is on the bench that you're excited to see play in the Big Ten? Bane Allen. Obviously, I want to know what Lincoln Kineholz can do. He's a freshman quarterback at Ohio State. I'm really curious to see what he can do. Never seen him play, so that gets me excited. And then Purdue, they have a safety that I'm super excited about. I've talked about him many times. Let me see if he leads the team in tackles first. But I made videos about him and everything. His brothers played. Oh, I thought that was him in the video. I thought that was him in the picture. His brothers played at Purdue for many years. And, yeah, he still leads them in tackles. So Dylan Thieneman is the number one freshman that I enjoy watching play. Dylan is the guy. I think he's an NFL-level linebacker / safety, whatever you want to call him. Dylan Thieneman, this kid right here. His brothers were walk-ons who became team captains after years of playing. Some of the best safeties that Purdue's had over the last 6, 7, 8 years. And here he's the third brother to play for them. And he's a 3-star. But he's starting as a true freshman because he's not a 3-star because the recruiting websites don't know what they're talking about. He's a good player, so he's fun for me to watch. Those are two freshmen I care about. Mason shot his shot. Can't blame him for trying. Rico's the man. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you. Yes, Burkett is ahead of Evers. Okay, yeah, makes sense. I'm still gonna keep grinding though, trying to be an NFL scout or GM. Okay, congratulations, Mason. Sounds like a terrible life. Really think I got a shot. Okay. I talk to a lot of scouts in my DMs. I talk to a ton of scouts. They hate their lives. I meant as a starter in general, he's going to have a hard path starting for Wisconsin. Oh, Bobby Albright. I haven't assessed him to be a starter in general. I take it one season at a time. Take it one season at a time. That's the attitude, Mason. Keep grinding, bro. Cannot wait for my first live MVP Saturday morning. Love all the content. Shout out to you, Ryan Cody. Hope you're there, man. Look forward to seeing you there. Take some of your questions and talk in depth about every game. Not Jeff Sims or Chubba Purdy. No. He was talking about best quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, or best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Yeah, definitely not Nebraska's. Are the conferences changing their names as they're adding more teams? Apparently not. Bascott Books, man, they've been the Big 11 for a long time. They're still the Big 10. They've had 11 teams for a while and even more. These teams don't change their names. These conferences don't change their names. It's all about branding. It's branding. And sometimes, I don't know, man. They're just not doing it. Shout out to the Super Chat just came in. Mason just sent another one. Thank you so much. One more thing. If the Bears don't get Williams, should they take a chance on Drake May or Michael Penix Jr. if they are on the board? For sure. For sure. Drake May's a quality back. Or there can be other quarterbacks. I love Riley Leonard. There's other quarterbacks. It's not just you guys name the 3 guys before the season. You don't let the season play out, and you don't identify the players during the season. Like, there's other players out there that are playing out of their mind. Let them get their shine. Let them get their love. Like Cam Ward. Why isn't Cam Ward on top of everybody's board? Why? Because he wasn't on your board before the season. Cam Ward should be in the same conversation, should be on the same list, but everybody made their list before the season started, NFL scouts included. Casual fans, mock drafts, all you guys identified people before the season, yet I'm watching the tape and I'm watching the film and I'm watching the games and I'm going, this guy's it. Right? Why are we saying, oh, well, what if they go and get this guy? Why can't they get these other guys? Like, why are we saying Drake May and Michael Penix Jr.? Well, Shador or Cam Ward. Like, I can go bar for bar. What's wrong with the kid at Texas? Right? What's wrong with Dylan Gabriel? Why are we not naming everybody? If we watch the film and watch how they perform, there's other quarterbacks. Just saying. How do you become an MVP? Mason Harper, watch the pin video. Watch the pin video. Watch the pin video. Yeah, Theo knows what he has been telling. I don't care. Look at Red Hibbler for NC State. He's a JUCO transfer and is leading the team in sacks. Caden Still, that has nothing to do with the Big Ten. That ACC was yesterday. Thanks for dropping in. I love the content, man. Been a follower since last year on TikTok. No one knows this shit like you. Thank you so much, Garrett Fortune. I believe in myself, and I appreciate all the support you guys give me. Thank you for following the channel and making my life possible. You guys do make my life possible. Sorry the chat just jumped on me. Bear with me. It happens every now and then. Kavion James Ragland says, is it a lot of Wisconsin MVPs? No, it's just one. It's just one. Just one. Where can I submit a request for high school film review? Depressed Souls, all you have to do is send me a DM on TikTok. Send me a huddle link or a name and a huddle link or a Twitter link or whatever. And just send the DM and sit tight. It's going to be a while. What website do you guys use to get injury updates? ESPN seems delayed. Brian, I don't have a website. I don't have a specific website. I can just tell you that ESPN is not my go-to spot for news information. I do not. ESPN gets everything delayed. Everything. Because they're a major news organization. It takes a while to vet it, to get it up on its site. They're behind on so many. I just don't live in their world, man. I don't click on their page to know what's going on. It's the reality of the situation. Thoughts on Darius Taylor out of Minnesota? What up, Lucas Cash? Thank you for asking. Well, I've made a video on Darius Taylor before on TikTok, and I showed that I found his tape before everybody knew about him. And I want to tell you that I think he's an NFL caliber running back. I think he's amazing. I couldn't believe that he was given 3 or 4 stars coming out of high school. He just looked better than everybody when I finally got to his tape. I noticed right away he was getting more carries than Sean Tyler, the transfer from Western Michigan, who's a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher. And I couldn't believe it. I said, man, who is this guy? It's unfortunate he didn't play last week. Tell me he was injured. But I hope he gets better. I hope he gets healthy and he's back and he can carry the load for that team. Darius Taylor is going to be a problem in the Big Ten for years to come as a running back. He's going to be one of those guys you know about, right? Regardless of how the team performs. And at the same time, he can transfer. It's possible. You lose P.J. Fleck, then he gets a free transfer, and he'll be able to play right away. Let's see what he does. Good afternoon, Rico. David in Arizona. What up, David? Ryan Merritt says, which teams joining the Power 5 constantly? Which teams joining the Power 5 constantly? Is there ever an instance where a team could get removed? For instance, the Big Ten dropping a school like Northwestern. So, to be clear, the Power 5 was predetermined by bowl agreements. That's it. There's no such thing as the Power 5 without the bowl agreements. So when they made their agreement to do the New Year's Six Bowls, it was the champions of these 5 conferences. And that's what created the Power 5. Power 5 was never a thing before then. And the Power 5 won't be a thing moving forward. They're delaying it, but it won't be a thing. It'll be the Power 4. And they'll reword it to where the bowls have agreements with only 4 conferences. And the playoffs will have agreements with, right now it says the top 6 ranked conference champions. And they did that by design. They wanted to give the 5 ranked conference champions, the Power 5, and then 1 Group of 5 conference. But it still says 6 as of right now, meaning 2 Group of 5 champions will be in the playoffs next year until they change that, and they haven't changed it. So what people need to understand is when you remove a team from your conference, they aren't they're not a Power 5 team. They were associated with a Power 5 conference, and now they aren't anymore. So while you guys watch all the conferences grow right now, and they're all growing because they believe there's safety in numbers. But imagine you're out in the wilderness and you think there's safety in numbers, so you all move in a bigger group. You don't want to be by yourself, so everybody moves in a group. And then after a while, you realize we're running out of food. This group is big. Not everybody's bringing in the same amount of food. There's too many mouths to feed. We need to reduce the number of mouths to feed, or we're not going to make it. Think of yourself as on a raft in the ocean. How many people do you want on that raft? Well, you don't want to be alone. You need somebody else to help you. You need somebody else to fish, somebody to filtrate the water, somebody to be on the lookout for help. You need a certain number of teams. But if you get too many, you don't catch enough fish. And that's what's going to happen moving forward. In the near future, it could be 10 years from now, but in the near future, these conferences that all grew like this, they're going to trim the fat. They're going to get rid of the teams that don't contribute to the revenue stream. And because those teams are a hindrance. That's what happened to Oregon State and Washington State, essentially. That's why they didn't get invites, because they were seen as a hindrance. They held back the conferences. They weren't elevating them. So it's just something to think about moving forward, is who's going to get cut from these major conferences. Teams like Rutgers, Indiana, Northwestern, Illinois, Purdue, they don't generate enough revenue. All 5 of those guys could find themselves on the outside looking in. But the same thing's going to happen in the ACC. Virginia Tech, Syracuse. These teams are going to have a problem staying relevant. You can use other sports, but that's what's going to happen. Conference realignment is fine. However, why are California teams traveling to the Midwest for games? It's ridiculous for the student athletes and fans and student athletes. Yeah. You know, Damon, the team that travels the furthest is Hawaii. Hawaii travels farther than everybody. No one's had a problem with it the whole time. They're traveling every time they come to the mainland. It's really far away. There's something called the Pioneer Football League in the FCS, PFL. They've had teams from coast to coast for 10 years. Coast to coast for 10 years. No problem. Notre Dame plays all their ACC games. Notre Dame's in the middle of America. And they fly for all their ACC games in non-football sports. Notre Dame's got to play in Miami. That's a hell of a long flight. So there are teams that have been traveling the entire time. The logistics is just an excuse. It doesn't matter. The regional selling point doesn't matter either. Like, you can pretend the SEC are all a bunch of schools close to each other, but they've been expanding. Missouri is not in the SEC. They're just not. Missouri's the middle of the damn country. But they've been in there for 10 years now. No problem. And when they got to travel, what do they do? It's just a part of the logistics behind it. Come on, man. These guys are going to play games in Ireland and England and Europe. Mexico City. Do you know how far Mexico City is? I don't know if you guys ever looked at a map and thought people were driving to Mexico City. That's not happening. Mexico City is so far south. Yet they'll meet up to play in that game. It's a reality. I just watched Albany, New York. Albany, New York has a game with Hawaii. Right? Do you have any idea how far those kids had to fly for that game? So everybody's up in arms about the ACC thing. But this shit is crazy. Albany, New York had to fly to Hawaii. Do the map quest on that. It's reality. All for money. Yep, somebody's got to pay for it. Don't you think you could increase your revenue significantly by starting to talk about the NFL? Edwin Serrano. No. Not at all. I know exactly what I'm doing. I need no tips on how to increase my revenue stream significantly. Trust me. I make more money than all these other creators. And my footprint's smaller than theirs. All these guys. They can't go band, not with me. Band for band with me? Not a chance. Now you name it. Point out a guy. 2, 3, 400,000 followers. Point them out. They won't show you any of the receipts. I can. I have way more traction daily. Yeah, I went to Nebraska, so I'm obviously a delusional fan. Hey, shout out to you. You're not delusional. You're just a fan. You're just a fan. Fan is derived from the word fanatic. You're a fanatic about your team. What do you think about Chip Terrium? Should he continue to play running back or go back to linebacker? Darius Pearson, I believe players should play where their team needs them. The NFL will get them where they need to go, but players should play where their team needs them. And if your team needs you somewhere, go do your thing. I've seen guys play both ways. Right? I've seen it because they needed a linebacker, they needed a running back. Josh Fleeks just moved to another position. Like, guys are just moving all the time, all over the place. O'Connell had a 61% completion percentage compared to Anthony Richardson's 44%. Evan Kramer, it's gross. Are Miami of Ohio and Toledo the teams to beat in the MAC? Yeah, man, they look pretty good. They look like it. Ohio's still in that conversation, though. The Ohio Bobcats are still in that conversation. Bane Allen, I don't care what anybody says. They're tough. Their defense is tough. But Toledo's the team to beat. Miami of Ohio is a very good story to tell. Gage Larvadain is doing his damn thing. So Miami of Ohio beating Cincinnati is huge, and they just look good. So, yeah, that's where it's at. Cam Ward, real Heisman contender. As long as they're winning games, Jake Stoner, but that's not a Big Ten question. I always like AR because I followed him. Florida commit, dude. Yeah. It's crazy. Rico, what's your final record prediction for my Scarlet Knights? I take this 1 week at a time, Connor Bradley, so you'll know by the time we get there at the final game of the season. You'll know in the final week. I make my predictions 1 week at a time. Thoughts on Michigan versus Minnesota? MVP data. Am I saying that correctly? Give me a second here. Yeah, that's MVP data. I won't be giving you any information on that game. If you're an MVP, you can go watch the live stream or the video I've posted on the MVP playlist. Matt Cox, and you'll know the answer. MVP info, Matt. Join up and find out. There you go. Thoughts on Tegra, Ty Shabola, Jair Brown, Malik Hartford at Ohio State. Yeah, man. Just a bunch of good players. Just a bunch of good players doing their thing. That's all there is to it. You get an opportunity to rep, get an opportunity to play. You're surrounded by other great players. You're going to be good. When I watch film, I see 4- and 5-star kids surrounded by other 4- and 5-star kids. So if you make a mistake, your teammates got your back. If he makes a mistake, you got his back. It's really easy that way. You go look at some of these smaller schools, it's not the same thing. You don't have those great players around you. Mistakes are glaring. Holes are wide. Things are just different. Shout out to them. Which Pac-12 school going to the Big Ten next year do you think will have the most success? USC. Western Kentucky versus La Tech. It's an MVP question. Who you like better, Corum or Edwards, if you were an NFL scout? I like Edwards a little more. I haven't really assessed them from that perspective. I've obviously watched film on both of them. I do like Edwards better. I do like Edwards as a player. Corum just, to me, has never really impressed me. Really. He just hasn't. So I like Edwards. Is J.J. McCarthy the best quarterback in the Big Ten? Not to me. Not to me. No. He's the best quarterback at Michigan, though. What days do you talk about which conferences like Pac-12, Big 12, etc.? The schedule's out there. There's a thumbnail in front of every single one. I've got videos explaining it. Monday, ACC. Tuesday, Big 10. Wednesday, Big 12. Thursday, SEC. Friday, Pac-12. And then they also have one corresponding group of 5 team on every single day. So it's not that hard to figure out. Just watch every day. You'll learn it. It's like the menu for lunch, the menu for school at lunch. That's all it is. I know there's more on the board, but I couldn't list more because I ran out of space. Okay, Mason. Rico, do you think the books have sharp lines on college football? Maybe it should make sense to add 6 points to your spread or totals if gambling. Anthony, I have never assessed books. I have no idea what sharp lines are. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I look at teams. I look at players. You do the rest. I'm not worried about gambling like that. I worry about players and assessments. That's all I do. Let me do my own thing, Bobby. Thanks, Rico and Kim. Shout out to you. Have you had the chance to watch any of Jock Jensen's tape? Division II transfer wide receiver who started to turn it last few games. Kid's a stud. Yeah, so I did go watch some of his tape when he transferred in. Connor Bradley. Shout out to you, Rutgers wide receiver. I was more impressed with the 6, 7, 8 kid that they have. But I also think that having Gavin Wimsatt there at quarterback makes it hard for me to get excited about any wide receiver transfer. You got to get them the ball, and he struggles to get them the ball. I hope he does. I hope he always gets it there, but that's my biggest issue with Rutgers wide receivers is they're running wide open, and they don't have a quarterback that can hit them. So it sucks. But, yeah, I saw the tape. He's good. Will Ohio State beat Michigan this year? I'm not a fortune teller. As Mason Rico appreciate, brother. Thoughts on Ethan Carrier, freshman at Minnesota, and his brother Mason Carrier committed to Minnesota. So I don't worry about commits, but obviously it's a brother commit, so it's going to happen. The relationships are there. I would hope that they're not dependent on Fleck being there because I think Fleck's going to get fired if they don't win out, if they don't start winning something, because it looks like it's going to be a long season. It looks rough for Minnesota, given their schedule. So that's my thoughts. I hope these brothers are committed to playing together and staying there despite the coach not being there, if it happens. Will rankings go away when the new playoff comes since the top 5 seeds will be conference champs? No, rankings don't go away, Evan Kramer, because they still got to rank them. They still got to seed them properly. Shout out to Daniel Henderson, Just Cuz. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the super chat. It's important, man. That helps my life, gets my dinner right. I got you, man. Bears need Jim Caldwell. Hey, Bears need Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell. Ugh. Deacon Hill thoughts. Hot Pockets. Deacon Hill. Not a bad quarterback. Transfer from Wisconsin. Going to be the new starting quarterback for Iowa. Good recruit, big recruit, but he left school, went to a different school, stayed in conference. I don't like transfers who stay in conference. If you couldn't play at one school, you obviously can't start at the other. Hence him being on the bench at one school from the other. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets his shot. Quarterback's not the problem at Iowa. Can Oklahoma beat Texas? Andrew Toki, that is not a question for today. That's for tomorrow when I talk Big 12. How about South Florida, Rico? South Florida is not in the MAC, so I don't talk about them until I talk about – are they in the American? I already talked about them, I believe. So you missed that. Thank you for – go watch Monday's show. Do you think with only J.J. McCarthy completion percentage – can get him to New York, or do you think Harbaugh's game plan is hurting him in the long run? No, Harbaugh's game plan is helping him in the long run because they're winning games. They don't want to rely on him to win games. He doesn't need to get to New York. They need to win a national championship. He's not going to be the reason they get there. Just make sure he's the reason they don't get there, right? Make sure he's not the reason they don't get there. Don't let that guy lose games for you. That's all that is, Jason. No, we're not sitting here trying to find that guy. Nah. Andrew Boakholder. Iowa minus 1.5 seems like an easy play this weekend, but beware, Iowa sucks against Purdue at home. I'm still scared from 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't see any easy plays in all of college football for the most part. I stay away from stuff like that. You don't know how anyone's going to perform, but if you want to jump it, jump it. BP the Great says, I'm late. Rewind the show. You'll be all right. Who do you think is the best wide receiver in the Big Ten that is likely to declare for the draft this year? Lucas Cash, that is a ridiculous question. I don't understand why we're asking me questions that are mainstream questions that are all over the world. Ask me something obscure, not Marvin Harrison Jr. type questions. That doesn't move me, man. Do you think the Pac-12 teams joining will put pressure on the current Big Ten to start being more innovative on offense? Evan Kramer, they're going to find out real fast. Warm weather teams have explosive offenses, and they don't. Now, that being said, Ohio State has a great offense. So they are innovative. It's the other teams, the boring teams, the Purdue's, Indiana's, Penn State, dare I say Iowa. Just terrible offenses. They need to figure some shit out. The world needs PJ Fleck out of the Power 5 forever. Dude is a cornball. Hey, shout out to you, Bobby Albright. That's funny. Another day, another awesome show here every day. Keep it rolling, Rico. Thank you very much, Ricky Rick. Should MVPs be banned from future questions when they ask off-day conference questions, wasting our time? Come on, MVP. Hey, they're just normal people like anybody else, Anthony Sturdivant, but I feel you, man. Not an NFL quarterback. I agree. Some people will tell you he is. I don't know who the hell they are or what they're looking at. Today totally hear you about Wimsatt's accuracy issues. He's been more mobile this year, which has allowed him to make up for some of those issues. Appreciate you. Always go Knights. Shout out to you, Connor Bradley. Yeah, he's always been a mobile kid. That's why he was a 4-star quarterback. But I watched him in spring ball. I watched him all last season, watched him all so far this season, and he just misses really easy passes. I think it's an innate ability to throw the football, and he doesn't have that ability. He wasn't born with it. You could argue that the warm weather teams are going to get hit pretty hard when they play in Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin in late November. You could, but you wouldn't win that argument. You could bring it up, but it's not going to matter to me. I'm telling you right now, those teams are going to get smoked. They're going to get smoked. Thank you guys for being here. I know it was a short show. We like it that way. Remember, don't talk sports with your friends because your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all. Thanks for the support.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills kills you inside. That's why I do this for you.
I'm still trying to leave my mark with a simple song and